Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Chicago. Yeah, Michigan Avenue. Oh, the bike fell down. Hey, we'll head up. It's still cold. I don't think it got above 50 degrees the whole day. It was 48 degrees when we filmed the bridge lift there at lunchtime. And we got October the 22nd, 2025. We'll say 49 degrees. 49 degrees. We got the carbon building here. And hey, fall's in the air. Smelled the wood fires. We got mums. We got people crossing the street here. Yeah, we'll head to the other side of Michigan Avenue for a while here. We might zigzag to River North. You know, if the weather improves a little bit later this week, I might be motivated to go to Wicker Park. We might save it for the weekend. I do want to get over there because there's usually beautiful Halloween decorations on Point and Pierce and the Beer Barons Row over there. We did that last year, the year before. And Wicker Park, we need to get over there. We walk back through Bucktown and stuff like that. But tonight I'm just going to head home and do my usual haunts because it's kind of cold and clammy. We walked a really lot today. At lunchtime, we went all the way to Union Station. So hey, we'll see if anybody's tuning in here. Chris, how you doing there? Chris DM, T-Line, T-Time. Yeah, what happened? I don't know what happened. It's just everything's fine here. The cars get trapped by the pedestrians here. Look at the nice one wheel there. It's the people trying to make the left. If they push it too much, they get trapped by the pedestrians that start to cross and then it messes up people going that way. But welcome to 10 years of rocking the shoulder there at Pace Bus, Chicago, Illinois, Michigan Avenue, 49 degrees. We got 5:12 in the PM there. There's the 3 bus, King Drive, MLK. Hey, look at this cute dog here. How you doing? Oh, look at that cute pup. How you doing there? I love that dog. That's great. It's beautiful. It's wearing the little sweater. That's the dog needs a sweater today. It's 49 degrees. Wes, how you doing? RGR, Christy, yeah, T-Line, T-Time. So what's shaking there? Look, we'll just head through our usual walk home from work. This is my evening commute, nothing big. If you missed it, we did the bridge lift today. And I still got some footage to cut out from this morning. This guy's turning around. Look, he's riding the wrong way on Michigan Avenue. Nothing to see here. He did it really quickly there. That's how you do it. I think he went to get behind that taxi for some reason. Maybe he's got to park behind that taxi. But hey, the 333 Michigan building, there's the side of it. Beautiful Art Deco. We'll go past the Wrigley, the Tribune here. I thought about cutting over to Clark Street, but we might wait till we cross the river to do it. Here, hey, that's a nice little scooter there. So what else is shaking here? Let's see. Mary Treese, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Subi. Mary Treese, thanks for being on at lunchtime. That was great. We saw that bridge lift. The Baskill bridges, the 9 sailboats. Yeah. Here's Maria Towers, Trump Tower. 1,200 feet tall. Here's the Chicago Architecture Center's that way. Go further down, there's the St. Regis there, the blue building. We'll cross the Chicago River. I saw Jennifer You Should Eat was on the Riverwalk there. That's great. Hopefully people saw that there. Maybe she's still around here. Maybe we'll run into her. There's the hey, they scooting off, going across the Michigan Avenue Bridge on a scooter. That's good. Here's the Chicago flag with the Wrigley and Tribune buildings here. Classic scene from the DeSable Michigan Avenue Bridge. There's the Chicago River. If you want to see more of the Chicago River, check out my rerun there at lunch. My shameless plug. I also posted a replay of the Shameless House. People always ask me to go. It used to be more, you know, I know that show hasn't even been making new episodes in years, but people remember Shameless from Showtime. And look at this barge going through here. Here's a barge river architectural cruise. heading through the Chicago River. But yeah, I posted a rerun from 2 years ago, The Shameless House. It's funny because I went there even before that. That was from this time, 2023. I went there even earlier in the year because it was on my original account. TikTok deleted it. We went there, and we went there last year because I stopped there last year. And I think we went there 4 times. I think I have 4 different reruns, and one of them was deleted. That's one of them. And we also have Sheila's house. I filmed Sheila's house, which is near the L tracks. That's Joan Cusack's character in Shameless. If you want to see that, message me. We've got that as well. And we have V's house is 2 doors down. V's house, you could see it in the rerun I posted. I don't have the bar. I don't have some of the other people's houses. But, hey, so look, see this flag here? This is the Chicago Fire Soccer Club. This is Chicago Fire. They're playing tonight. They're playing the Orlando City Soccer Club. And whoever wins tonight, it's 7:30 game. I posted it on my word bubble there. Goes to play the Philadelphia soccer team, Major League Soccer. And so... Go Chicago Fire there. The Ultras are gonna, I know the game's in Orlando, I think. So I don't know, but die-hard Chicago, hardcore Ultra soccer fans will be down there in Orlando, hopefully rooting for Chicago. And I'm gonna try to watch it on TV. It starts at 7:30 tonight. Go Chicago Fire. Here's the Plaza Americas. Yeah, look at that. We got the mums there. You see, you can stand right in front of the wings there and take your photo there. That's exactly what it is there. That's good. So here, we'll head through here. So, let's see what this guy's doing here. How you doing?
You hear mom?
How you doing, man? How you doing, man? I'm live streaming here on YouTube. Appreciate it. How you doing?
Did you hear mom though?
Yeah. So here, let's see here. So here, we'll head up. He's doing some interactive thing. I think it's a psychological experiment to see if people put their hands up, and I don't know what's going on. I'm too scared to participate. I know there's a catch. So here, that's why I don't play 3-card monte on Michigan Avenue either. I won't even go in the casino. So hey, here we're across from the Intercontinental Hotel, Michigan Avenue. I need to duck. Maybe this is a good day to go through the. Let's go through. We'll I might lose my connection, but we'll cut through the. Well, he's bouncing out some basketball. That's great. We'll cut through the Nordstrom Mall, and we'll pop out over on Wabash, and that's a good way to get off of Michigan Avenue. We'll leave the Intercontinental Hotel. Tribune Tower, and here it's coming up here. Tim, how you doing? You did basic in December? Wow. Had trouble connecting? Oh, okay. Really? What Dolores, you had trouble connecting? What on? Oh, are you talking about something else there? Omaro, how you doing there? Hey, thanks for tuning in Chicago. Yeah, this is look at the crowds here on Michigan Avenue. There's your Midnight Cowboy scene there. It's not as crowded as I thought once I zoomed in. It just was. But here we'll. So here we'll head through the Nordstrom Mall here. So here I'll show you where we're at here. So see, there's the Tribune Tower. There's the Intercontinental Hotel. That's looking south on Michigan Avenue. This is looking north. This is the Nordstrom Mall, which they built over top of Grand Avenue. Grand Avenue's underneath us. See, that's Grand Avenue. It has the Navy Pier. This is North Michigan Avenue. They call this North Bridge, Nordstrom, 520 North Michigan Avenue. The Wynn Hotel's in here. And there's a mall. There's a food court at the top. Four levels. This is another urban mall similar to the Water Tower Place, but this is what I call the Nordstrom Mall here. And look, Lux Landing. Look how they got the seating here. You can sit up here. Look at those balls. There's those mirrored spheres there, and they got a nice seating area here. But here you got Kiehl's, Hugo Boss, Aesop. See 4 levels. You go up to the top there. I'm probably going to lose my connection, but Diane, thanks for tuning in there. Denise, Dolores, we got all the D's. Tony, Yeah, Tony Boy. But hey, Bomar over there. Schoolie. So I personally have not encountered ICE yet. I saw that question. Ernesto Chicago Nuggies was detained by them. I posted the video. We know Ernesto Chicago Nuggies. He was walking in Archer Heights on the southwest side. He's a fellow live streamer. He was detained, and they didn't even give him an apology. See, people are like, stop talking about politics, but people bring it up in the chat, so we'll address it here. They must be doing some promotion here. It looks like they're doing a road trip for Jellycat. You see how the windows, we're on top of Rush Street, and this is the Nordstrom Mall. There's the Gwen Hotel, and we're going to head back out there. They saved some of these panels because this whole building is Art Deco, and they completely removed the facade and the structure, rebuilt the structure when they built this mall, and made it the entrance to the mall, and then added the Gwen Hotel. Look at this cat. Look at the sidecar with the dog. Isn't this great? Jellycat, Jellycat London. People are waiting for Jellycat. So this is new. Last time I was here, there wasn't a Jellycat. So there's a Jellycat road trip here, 1999. I remember 1999. That was a good year for me. Look at the Jellycat there. You get your stuffed dolls there. And this is in the Nordstrom Mall, right as you go into Nordstrom. So anybody know Jellycat? There's people waiting in line. Here, let's make sure we get this for these. We'll probably cut this out. I don't know much about this. Nordstrom Jellycat. I guess it's these plush dolls. See the E-bars right here. I like that motorcycle though. Look at that. It's got the sidecar. Very nice. So here, sorry. Appreciate it. So we'll head through the makeup counter and the shoes. This level, actually, we ramped up to the second level. So believe it or not, we're on the second level. We slowly ramped up. We've been here before. Are we streaming okay? Did we lose our connection? Thanks for tuning in. If you just joined, we're in the Nordstroms here in Chicago. We just went off of Michigan Avenue. We're going to eventually pop out back to the street. But I'm sure less than a month from now, they'll start having the Christmas stuff. We saw in Macy's, they already had, there's some Christmas stuff. Look at these lights. I like these lights. Look at that. Look how they go all the way up there. Look at that. So Prada, Louis Vuitton. They got these little small shops within there. Of course, Prada has the real store on Oak and Rush there, but this is the Prada within Nordstrom's. So we'll head out the back here. Cute things. Bargain shopper, yeah. How you doing? So here we'll head down the escalator. How you doing? Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, they got the lights here. Look at that. Very nice. Heart Attack. How you doing there? That's a nice name. It almost sounds like Heart Attack. Look in the back here. So they got a bunch of they got like a pop-up shop down here. Let's see what this is. So when you come in the back here, they got some stuff as you go out the door there. Oh, what fun. Yeah, so you're getting ready for the holidays here. Gifts for the family. Hey, that's a nice dog. I like the shoes there. Oh, sorry. I appreciate it. That's good. The dog was wearing shoes. So you see how we pop out here at Grand and Wabash. So there's WeWork, Nordstrom's, Big City Optical. We'll cross the street here. And I don't know what I was waiting for. I could have crossed the street there. There's the Trump Tower there, backside of it. Where the red line stop is there, the grand stop on the red line. We'll wait for this traffic here, Yardbird, Hilton Garden Inn. But we'll go past Uno's and Due's here. We'll go past the temporary casino site. Yeah, Grand and Wabash, you got it. Thanks for helping out, Jeffrey. Mary Therese there. Joseph, you sound like a bot. Do you know how pathetic that sounds? do you like sleep with the My Pillow guy and hug Trump, you know, and dream of Trump and everything you say is Trump? Can you make a statement without Trump being in the name there? You know, we'll see if the government's still shut down by Christmas. So hey, And I know that sounds like victory to you because he'll be able to slash all the programs they don't want. You'll be able to punish the liberals. He'll sue the government for $250 million. The taxpayer will pay for it. You love paying it. You love paying Trump. Go ahead, grovel to your dear leader there. Trump, Trump, Trump. See, I didn't say anything bad about you. I'm just, you drank the Kool-Aid, and I'm missing out on all the fun. So, hey, enjoy your sugar rush there. Doesn't it feel good to spike the ball and rub it into your fellow Americans? Sound like a sore winner to me. Here's the Bally's Casino. Here's Uno's. Here's Chicago-style pizza here. There's the Italy. The Italy's right there. I'm arguing with a robot here. It's probably somebody in a North Korean chat room. Here's the Bally's Casino. Exit only. And this used to be the Medina Athletic. Oh no, excuse me. The Medina Auditorium. Medina Temple Auditorium. There's the Medina Athletic building, which is the Intercontinental Hotel, but this was the Medina Temple Auditorium. You see how the Shriners Circus used to play here. Now it's a Bally's Casino. We're watching the construction of the new casino on the North Branch of Chicago River. We saw it earlier in the week. We walked by there, and the hotel's going up, and just what we need, more gambling in this city. Here's Pizzeria Due. So we went by Pizzeria Uno's. Here's Pizzeria Due's. We're at Ontario here, and thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, Jeff's YouTube. Oops, well, go ahead. People making left there. I was looking at the comments there. So hey, there's the Waken Bakery. I'm so happy I'm on YouTube I can point out the Waken Bakery there. Maybe we'll check that out sometime. Here's we're heading up Wabash here. We'll eventually get to the Gold Coast and check out Halloween decorations. How you doing? How you doing? That's good. So here's the Waken Bakery and Trader Joe's. We'll go past the St. James Cathedral. Maybe 5:30 that we might hear the bells toll, so I'll walk slower and we might hear the bells of St. James. That bell tower, part of it survived the Great Chicago Fire, but this church was greatly damaged and they mostly rebuilt it, and then later the roof burnt down. They replaced the roof. Look at this great view we get of the John Hancock, the Park Hyatt there. That's over by the water tower, and then there's this housing here. Of course, we always go by the Cable house here, this Richardsonian Romanesque. I love the color of the stone. Cable was his first name was Ransom. Ransom Cable was a railroad baron in Chicago, like with Ogden and all those people that built the railroads, and then that's why you could afford to build that house. And then later the McCormicks bought it. The heirs of the McCormick Reaper fortune bought it because they bought like everything. And there's the Dree House. You can tour that. It's the Dree House Museum. The Murphy Memorial's there. Look at this amazing view. And here's the, they used to decorate for Halloween, but they're not decorating for Halloween this year. And the Dree House isn't either, but this is the, I think the Dree House owns this as well. This is the Cable house. And there's that nice view of the Trump Tower. So, yeah, let's check out these mums. We've been checking out the beautiful mums on Michigan Avenue, and it's amazing. Yeah, DMG, how you doing there? Reminds you of Boston. Boston's a beautiful city. I love Boston. I would like to do some live streaming in Boston. Go to the Back Bay. Kind of reminds me of the Gold Coast. The housing is similar. Beacon Hill. The North End there with, you know, and we got bars that go back to 1795. Boston. Go to Fenway. I've been to Fenway a few times. I've actually watched games there. It's a beautiful park, older than Wrigley Field. The oldest is Fenway, and Wrigley's the second. And then after that, it's Dodger Stadium. We get to see it in the World Series. That's Dodger Stadium is the third oldest stadium, and it was built in the, what, 1960? All the other ones were torn down or no longer played in, you know. Hey Joseph, are you proud? Oh, here's the bells. Here's the bells of St. James. They saved me from yelling at you there. Here, look at that. So Joseph Davis, are you proud of how corrupt the current president is? The current president is making money off the government. That doesn't bother you. So, hey, the local corruption doesn't bother me either, because the corruption at the federal level doesn't seem to bother anybody either. So if we're looking for corruption, both parties have it. I can be critical of the Democratic Party too. I can make fun of Biden. You know, I feel that neither parties represent me, and what you say, you're just arguing with yourself. I'm arguing with myself too. So I'm going to move on and ignore your comments from now on. So here's, but hey, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your engagement here. This is great. So here we'll head up Wabash. Here we'll go by Jake Melnick's, and did you see the images of regular New York citizens, men, women, and children, mainly men and women, adults, surrounding ICE as they tried to... Why is ICE on, like, Chinatown, Canal Street, and Manhattan? Why are they arresting street vendors? You know, I would understand if they were, like, undocumented immigrants, but no, it was just because they were selling illegal stuff. So they're doing what the police should do. And then like hundreds of New Yorkers that saw it whipped out their phones, surrounded ICE, started chanting at them. ICE started pushing them around. This is just a bad situation. I think we're being set up where eventually there's going to be, like, someone's going to get hurt, and they're going to use it to do the Insurrection Act. And so they're like, you know, and this is in the middle of a crowded city with a lot. Why is this considered law and order? It's chaos. It's chaos to have mass U.S. citizens armed, acting like they're cops, with bad attitudes, yelling and screaming at people. Why the public is screaming and yelling at ICE, which is bad too. I'm not saying that's great. And people are angry. And, you know, so people tell me if I've encountered ICE. I haven't encountered anything like that. When the ICE was marching through the streets of Chicago in the Riverwalk and Michigan Avenue, I was coming back from North Carolina. I just flew back into town. I was laying on the couch. I thought I could have a nice weekend. And then ICE shows up for a PR stunt. They show up just to make some content. They didn't do anything. All they did, they apprehended some people by the bean, and they found out they were U.S. citizens, and they had to release them. That's what they did. And so, you know, I don't think this is great. I don't think this is making America great. That's my opinion. I'm sure your opinion is different, but you don't live here. And I'm sure if somebody from out of state would show up in your town, no matter what they were doing, you'd be like, at least show your face and let me know. You know, don't just... They're using their own private vehicles. That's the funny... And, okay, so there's other stuff going on where... an ICE agent, they're just messing with, because I'm sure they have a high-stress job and they get tired of interacting with the public. Isn't that great? They don't want to interact with the public, and they were taunting. They said, some people filmed their license plate. They said, "Oh, we change them every day." And then Giuliani, who is the state of Illinois Secretary of State, he said that's illegal. Even ICE cannot change their license plates. And they, you know, like can police cars do that? You know, undercover, you know, and so so, you know, all these people on MAGA, they're saying, oh, we're just enforcing the law. So ICE is admitting they have to break the law to enforce the law. And, you know, you're okay with that, which it just cracks me up. It's like, how can you argue with that? It's just stupid. And there was something else related to that. So it's just, so fortunately, I have not encountered any of that stuff. I walk in the tourist Michigan Avenue loop. We were in the South Loop yesterday. I did go down to Pilsen with Ernie after ICE harassed him, and we were walking through Pilsen. We didn't see anything. I know people, there was somebody in like Albany Park There's it's in the suburbs now. So here's the big bus, Chicago. So we'll see how this plays out. Here's the John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. Here's the Sofitel. There's Jenny's Ice Cream. We'll head up. Hey, Grim, how you doing there? Art Attack, Lori, how you doing there? Yeah, nothing ever bad happens in Dallas. Do you feel better looking down upon us? Like, you know, so you can put down to Chicago so you can feel better about Dallas? Hey, that's a good argument. Wow. I hope you're a teacher and teach kids that. I hope you're a politician. Here's Tesla. Speaking of who, maybe Elon will run for president. Wow, yeah. There you go. Yeah, right. You can't make money off of it as much as fleecing his companies. Here's yeah, we'll cross Rush Street. Remember when we saw the Tesla protest earlier this year? That's like distant memory. That seems like 3 years ago, but that was earlier this year. There was a protest against Tesla right here. Remember, we filmed it. Hey, I saw Major Hustler was filming the inflatables in Seattle. He's got a good video, like the Portland inflatables there. And that's the way we should do it. I feel like the yippies and from the hippies, you know, we just party while ICE pulls out their gun and we just have a party. And then they round us up like they always wanted to do. Devil in the White City, you got it. Yeah, we talk about H.H. Holmes. Wow, look at all these comments. So there's a rainbow cone by Geno's East on Superior, and there's a rainbow cone that just opened on Michigan Avenue. Do you work for Rainbow Cone? You're getting a free commercial here. Here's the Super Puff coat there, Aritzia. Usually they have it dance around. See, look, every SUV I see I think it's ICE. Here, we'll cross here. This is Walton Street. We'll head up Rush Street here. Frontline Tours. Hey, thanks, Servant of Christ. Appreciate that. Thanks for the positive message there. That's good. Margie R. Yeah, he's tearing up the White House. That's kind of a symbol for the country, right? It meant the personification of what he's doing to the country, he's doing to the White House right now. And I know he thinks it's an improvement. And I know he doesn't think he's bound by the law. So he's going to turn the White House into his personal Versailles so he can wine and dine his billionaire friends while they piss on the rest of us. And yes, they are. They're laughing right now. The stock market didn't even sell off today. I mean, you know, like it dropped a few points, but it's still like within a percentage point of the all-time highs. The government shut down. The stock market doesn't care. I think if the federal budget went to zero, the stock market would cheer. We walked down here today. Here's the Oak Street Beach. Well, you get to Oak Street Beach by going down Oak Street here. And this is Oak Street, all the high-end fashion houses there. How you doing there? And there's the security for Prada. Omar used to wave from the window. I wonder if he works with them. I know they're worried about people doing smash and grabs and fleecing the joint because Prada did get hit. We know Louis Vuitton got hit earlier this year. And somebody died in that because the jerks, when they went to flee, they sped down Michigan Avenue 100 miles an hour and rammed into somebody crossing a light, and because the people fleeing ran a red light and killed somebody. And I was out of town for that too. That's when I was in North Carolina. I saw that. But here's the Tavern on Rush. Here's Gibson's. And look how the same Americans that'll celebrate how great America is will bash American cities and put America down in the same breath. Isn't that amazing? How can America be great without great cities? And I know you might not like New York, Chicago's politics, but you need our economy to be great nation. You know, you do, whether you like it or not. And It just shows the mentality. It's not a nobody's really thinking this through. It's just a feeling. It's just like spiking the ball, own the libs. That's all that matters. Even if, you know, it's a pox on both our houses. You know what that means? You know, no one wins. No one wins in this situation. You think you're winning, but if we lose, you lose, because we're Americans too. So how do some Americans lose and other ones win? You know, so you're winning at our expense. You know, I don't get it. You know. So America's the greatest, America's the worst, all at the same time. America's the greatest country, but it has the worst cities. America's the greatest place on earth with the most opportunity, but it has the highest crime, the most murders nationwide, which personified by our cities. So every time you point out how much crime and murder there is in Chicago, that's America. That's nationwide. Per capita, there's many cities that are worse than Chicago. And you're celebrating that? You know. Here's Mariano Park. Hey, look at that nice view to the John Hancock. I wish Carmine's would open. Carmine's is not open. It's been like over a year. They got it already. I think they're just doing it to make a point. Somebody invested in it. So hey, we'll head up in the Gold Coast. We'll go past some Halloween decorations. I'm just going to stick on State and Dearborn. And because we walked so much at lunch, if you want to check out the bridge lift, we saw beautiful sailboats, 9 sailboats head through all those bridges, and we got some good views of the skyline. And we talked to a few people. We went to Union Station, and thanks to those who tuned in for that. If you missed it, you can watch the rerun there. I'll just wait for the clips. You know, I'll put it to TikTok and YouTube. Hey, Lou Malnati, Chicago style pizza. That's good. Yeah, he's tearing up the Constitution. He's tearing up the White House. He's tearing up the Fourth Amendment, the First Amendment. Supreme Court is complicit. Supreme Court, with all their emergency rulings, you know, the lower courts will do something that helps out the people, like forcing ICE to wear body cams, and the Supreme Court will, like, they'll go challenge it, and the Supreme Court will be like, nope. Because, you know, they're worried about lawsuits. The same reason the Supreme Court did an emergency ruling saying it's okay for ICE to profile people. And people are taunting them. They're like, they'll go up to somebody that looks brown or Hispanic, and they'll start speaking Spanish. Say, don't insult me, I speak perfect English. And ICE doesn't care. You know, it cracks me up. We're used to being insulted. Welcome to the Insult America, where everybody just insults each other. They don't care about us. Remember that song? They don't care about us. No future. We got to whip out the Sex Pistols punk songs. No future for us. God save the Queen. God save the King. So hey, let's head up the Gold Coast and see if we can see some Halloween decorations. I know you've probably seen them before, but there's some people tuning in that haven't seen the ones we've seen here, and there's some pretty good ones on State Street and Dearborn, so we'll dodge back and forth. We went up Astor, and then we cut across there yesterday. And here's the Andy Rory Art Moderne here. We'll cross. This is State Street Division. This is the Gold Coast, Chicago. We're about to enter into residential area. I walk through all the time. The reason I walk through is on my way to and from work. Check out Jody GTV. He just filmed a abandoned school on the south side, far south side, and he's been covering, doing a good job. We saw him downtown on Saturday. But here we're heading up State Street. Hey, look at all these comments I missed. Anita, thanks for being on. Wes, yeah. Angie Love, how you doing? I like your name there. Ha! Sounds like we got an RFK conspiracy theorist in the house. That's great. You can have RFK. Believe what you want to believe. Don't believe science. Believe your gut feeling. Believe what the last reel you saw on Instagram. Let the AI propaganda work. They're milking us like cows. Here's some Halloween decorations. Good, I can stop talking about filling in dead air time here. Here's, hey, look at that. They got the nice table there, the candelabra. Yeah, I think we saw this. I think we saw this in the morning. Yeah, there's the scarecrow. We'll head straight up Straight Street here. Hey, they got the lights on. We're getting towards the magic hour, but it's hard to tell. It's so cloudy. We got 49 degrees here. It's been cold and clammy all day. Finally feels like fall, but it's perfect for Halloween decorations here. Look at the skeletons. Hey, look at the scare. We got a bunch of pumpkins. They got some cute little kids down here. Here's the scarecrow. That's a crazy scarecrow. I like that. Got the smile. Here's the nice witch. She's got Alice in Chains there. Hey, it's talking to us.
We're so gone now.
There you go. See, it finally did a little animatronics there. Little skeletons. Yeah. Hey, look at the nice pumpkin display. Look at the Sphinx. The Sphinx is wearing a mask. Yeah. The Sphinx got some little cute pumpkins there. This is State Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. See, nice simple fall display. That Sphinx is always there. Look at this mansard roof. Hey, there's a witch. There's a witch burner. I'm not a witch. That's creepy. Look at that. The hands holding the... It's a spider skeleton. Yeah, there's some ghouls there. Yeah, we got some little... That looks like a monkey. That's a monkey skeleton, isn't it? Look at the spider. We have a... Hey, how you doing? Hey, thanks for saying... I'm on YouTube, but I do TikTok as well. That's good. Thank you. Thanks for saying hello. That's great. Yeah, that's appreciate it. Brian Really Chicago. That's good. So, yeah, that's good. I missed this skull. Hey, friends and neighbors, people saying hello there. And, yeah, one of these spiders, it was windy last night, and we were on Clark Street, and it turned into a tumbleweed and was blowing down the street, and I saw this spider rolling down the sidewalk coming towards me. So I picked it up and put it back, but it probably blew away. It's probably in the lake now. That happens. Spider skeleton, did you see that? Yeah. Fall weather's finally arrived. 43 degrees. Yeah, start the fire there, Tony Moy. Yeah. You like the pumpkins? Yeah, everybody's asking where ICE is at. I don't think ICE is going to be hanging out in the Gold Coast, but maybe they are. Maybe they're looking for people in the Gold Coast that hire undocumented workers, which is horrible that they're doing that. They're not going after the hardened criminals and the people that we really fear. They're going after people that are part of our economy and our friends and neighbors that are grandmothers and fathers and breaking up families, and it's heartbreaking. And I'm heartbroken that some Americans don't care, you know. And I know people broke the law. So did Donald Trump's wife. So did Melania. She overstayed her visa when she was here working as a model. You know, I don't want Melania to pay a price for it, but I don't want the people they're kicking out to pay a price for it either. If they are, there should be a more humane way, a pathway to citizenship. And they promised us, these mean, scary, tough-looking ICE people, they would go after the gang members and the criminal elements, which they are, but they're trying to meet their quotas, so they're skimming and getting easy targets like construction workers that they arrest in the suburbs. Did you hear about that in the western suburbs of Chicago? This is like over by Naperville. The guy was having his house roofed. ICE showed up, and one guy tried to run away. He got injured. They whipped out the guns, and he goes, here I am, I got kids in the house. They're working on the roof. ICE is running around the neighborhood with the guns out, and no one knows what's going on. No one knows who these people are. And, you know, the funny thing, all the people they detained, they were, hey, thank you, thanks for saying hello. Appreciate it, that's good. Friends and neighbors there. The people that they detained, they were U.S. citizens. And they whipped out their guns in a suburban neighborhood with kids around, and everybody's yelling and screaming and blowing the whistle, and the guy's like, you know, I hired these contractors. These guys are documented citizens, and then, you know, ICE is trying to meet their quota. So, you know, it's just... government contractors. Do you think the U.S. Justice Department's going to pay their legal fees if someone sues them for violating their Fourth and First Amendment rights? Why do they wear masks? It's so they can't be sued. I think they're more worried about being sued than breaking the law. Here's, that's my personal opinion. Look at the nice pumpkins here. We're seeing the simple Halloween displays. There's some better ones up this way, trust me. And if I go over to Dearborn Street, maybe we'll check out the ones on Dearborn Street, and then we'll come back over here so we can hit them all tonight. Then we can go to a different area tomorrow, because I know there's some there, and I know there's some over here. So there's the mums. Mum's the word. Look at that. So Antifa wears masks because they fear government surveillance. And so why does ICE wear masks? Why are they afraid of showing their identity? Are they Antifa? What if Antifa acted like ICE and you couldn't tell the difference? You know? And if people want to get really creative on Halloween, you know, imagine the possibilities. And we know who resisted wearing the mask for COVID. It was the MAGA, and now MAGA loves the mask because they have the mask to spread fear. Now it's become a thing to spread fear. And here's some beautiful Halloween decorations here on Dearborn Street in Schiller. We're in the Gold Coast here. We've shown this many times, but I just want to show you some good Halloween decorations for those that missed it the last time. And look, this one's really good. And they got the gremlin. They got all these amazing characters. They got the spider, and they got the gremlin there, and they got the pestilence, and they got the spider webs in the window. This beautiful housing here on Dearborn Street. Look at that. That's from that movie. Look at that thing, that little sprite or whatever it was there. Hey, oh, you're lying around there. I almost did. There's the skeleton here. But this is really nice here. This is this housing here, the corner of Schiller and Dearborn Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. We saw this, but we didn't see it at night. So I want to see the green lights here. We'll cross. There's that beautiful apartment buildings. We toured that on the Dearborn Garden Walk last year. I missed the Chicago Open House was this past weekend. There was a lot of amazing buildings we could have went inside, but we covered the No Kings instead and the parade on State Street. Here's the, wow, look at the alien. We've seen it. So you got the spaceship. Look at that. You got the spaceship. You got the cow. The spaceship has the cow in its beam. There's the other alien going up there. There's the Greys and the big alien. And we got all these little ghouls. Look, slow. Alien at play. There, look at there's the skeleton. But hey, we got unidentified flying objects. We got the Greys. We got the aliens here. See, these are the real aliens. The government should be concerned about these aliens more than the other ones. Here's the, in my opinion, here's the, and I think it's as simple as this. Like, I'm not trying to make some inflammatory statement. Because I live in Chicago, because I lived through the period where Texas was busing all the migrants and people were living in camps, and I would walk by and film them, and they would see me and I would see them, and they eventually, you know, we'd see them selling stuff on the side of the street, or we would see them up, you know, selling candy, or, you know. I don't fear, because I live in a major metropolitan area where there's a lot of immigrants and a lot of immigration, both legal and illegal. I don't fear the immigrants the way people outside of the big cities do. And isn't that interesting? Because I'm here walking around, spending time with them, and I do go to the south side, I do go to the west side. I got over 300 videos of the south and west side. Some of them are an hour long. And walking the streets, other live streamers do it. We're not making this up. What are you so afraid of? You know, I know there's crime. There's crime done by U.S. citizens. There's crime done by illegal migrants or undocumented migrants. You know, I got to be. I don't want to. I don't see. We're in the age where if I use the wrong term, I offend the right, and if I use the other wrong term, I offend the left. And someone's going to be offended either way. That's America, you know. But here, let's head back to. I want to head back to State Street here. Here's the St. Chrysostom's. Let's go film the Halloween decorations over here. But look at these beautiful buildings. We get to see them. I'm just so blessed that I get to walk through this neighborhood, even though I can't afford to live here. But I could afford to live here in an apartment, but it would be more expensive than where I live. Up at Clark and Fullerton, well, about the same. I don't know, everything's expensive now, so maybe I could find something about the same. But I really like my place. Here's, yeah, we just walked past these Halloween decorations here on Dearborn Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. Hey, thanks for tuning in here. Hope you're happy Halloween month. And see, that gentleman was wearing a mask. I think he was doing it for health reasons. See, look how, okay, look in the comments. So this is interesting. I would like to do I would like to talk to a psychologist about this. Look how people are using ICE as a pejorative to spread propaganda. It becomes something that they're cheering, like they're cheering the fact that they're punishing the cities by putting ICE there and doing what we don't want to do, but yet Texas sent all these people here to create this crisis exactly for this moment, and it played out exactly towards the plan. And you know, it's like we woke up in bizarro world. Here's mum's the word. You know, just when I think like things are going to get normal, you know, like for the first 2 years, it was all about Chicago crime and how everybody hated Biden and Trump 2028, and that was the taunt. Now ICE has become the new Trump 2028 or Trump 2024. And crime's still bad. It's getting better. It was getting better. Now ICE is here. And everybody's going to say it's because of ICE, but I see ICE causing chaos and crime themselves, you know. I don't see them as a positive force for good. You know, and that's what depresses me is these people in the comments that might be like robotic bots or like just, they're cheering from afar, but if it was happening in your community, I don't think you would like it. Especially if it was someone from out of state that you didn't know who they were. But here, yeah, there's the Scarecrow, there's the Headless Horseman. We've already covered that, so we'll go up this way. And but this one might be new. I see these lights here, so we'll just briefly show this. Here we're crossing Dearborn once again. Hey, look at these nice tropical lights here. This is we're back to State Street here. So yeah, this is the nice Scarecrow. They got the Scarecrow with the tombstones. And this always reminds me of Batman there. There's the Headless Horseman. There's the Headless Horseman. It moves if we can trigger it here.
He might call mortal. The darkness has beckoned you.
The horse always laughs. I like that.
Horse prize, and your soul shall be my prize. Will you come with me, or must I chase you down? It'll be marvelous for me either way.
There's the twin skeletons there. They're holding hands. Yeah, well, there's some skeletons making out down this way. So there's some nice inflatables. Yeah, we got some Halloween lights here. So, Dearborn Street, the Gold Coast of Chicago. It's the housing combined with the Halloween decorations that make them so good. Look at that. Look at that corpse. Yeah, we got spiders, skeletons waving at us. Look at this nice stoop. One of these porches, we saw those dogs. This is State Street. Look at that beautiful porch here, Richardsonian Romanesque. Look at that. Look at the spiders here. And again, look, it's a castle type looking building here with spiders. Weirdly cool. Yeah, they go all out. A lot of these places, and we noticed it with this one up here, they contract with people that do seasonal displays. It might be the landscapers that do the landscapers. They'll say for an extra fee, we'll set up a cool Halloween display. And you can kind of pick like a variation of a theme. And they have all the stuff, and we saw them setting it up. They'll pull up with a trailer, and within like one evening, they'll set up all the Halloween decorations, and you can just flip the switch. And so, yeah, we filmed that last night. So last night we went down and filmed that house. We went over past there. We'll head up this way. Hey, see, we got the spiders. We saw this. They got the spiders marching along the fence here. Yeah, these buildings are awesome. Yeah, where's the snow? It's coming. One year, I remember it snowed. The first snow was October the 15th. We're already October the 22nd. So, usually, and then like last year, it didn't snow until December. Like all November before Thanksgiving, we were waiting for the first snow, and it didn't happen until like, at least in the city. It might have snowed in the suburbs. The lake keeps just warm. And the last 3 winters have been relatively mild. But yeah, the snow's coming, the winter's coming. We're due for a good old Chicago time winter. All right, they're working on it. That's good. I really like your Halloween decorations. This is nice here. It's very nice. Look at that. They got the red. Yeah. Nice laugh there, the witch. This is great here. They're like look, they're cuddling there. Oh, this is new. They got the cauldron here. They got the cauldron.
This forest is cursed, foolish mortal. All who enter are doomed. The shadows hunger for a new soul. Perhaps thou seek wisdom. Gaze into our bubbling pool. It reveals truth's hidden and dark futures. The knowledge comes at a dire price. Art thou prepared to see what destiny awaits thee?
They got a rat. Look at the rat. They're holding a big giant rat, and they're going to put it in the green goo there. But hey, look at this, the danger zone. Yeah, he's working on it there. So here, we'll keep going here. Here's the wooden alley. And yeah, I like this a lot. Yeah, this is really nice.
I'm so scared about all of
Oh, how you doing? It's scary because, yeah, they're talking and stuff. Yeah, the dog was freaked out. The Halloween decorations got the dog there. But hey, yeah, see, this is nice. That's a really good coffin there. So hey, we saw a few new ones. Yeah, look at the nice Halloween decorations here on State Street. Thanks for tuning in. The Wooden Alley, we got reruns of that. I guess I got to do a new rerun. Seeing Cool Spaces has a really good video of the Wooden Alley. That's his. Yeah, I'm sure you ran across his content before. He goes all over the nation, but sometimes he films in Chicago. Yeah. Tea time. Hey, thanks for tuning in there. You see the Halloween decorations? Yeah. I know the people that tune in from Europe, they say people don't decorate as much for Halloween throughout Europe, but a few people do. People decorate where my sister lives in Houston. That's in the suburbs. People really decorate in Lincoln Park, the Gold Coast. We went up to Lakeview. We saw some in Lakeview, but I need to go over to Wicker Park. We'll get over there. Such beautiful housing there in Beer Barons Row, and they decorate for Halloween. So we'll get over there later this week or this weekend. We'll figure it out. So I'm gonna head. Instead of going through the park, we'll head back into the city here. And this is Lincoln Park. We're crossing here at State Street and 1550 North State Street. We'll head straight past Clark Street, and we'll go through Lincoln Park, and we'll look for some more Halloween decorations on our way home from work. This is such a beautiful building. Look at it's like the Hall of Mirrors there, and they got these Beaux-Arts. Look, they got a Halloween decoration there. It's nice. But they got these balconies. The windows open like balconies. It's like a French. This could be on the Champs-Élysées there. They got a little carport here. This is the 1550 North State building here. And here's the Constellation. This is a mid-century modern. Schwartzman's the name of the architect. And this was built around 1960, either before or after. And look at that. There's no column on the corner. Look how thin the structural how elegant it is. It just extrudes right up through there. And Constellation Residential Building, 1555 North Dearborn Street, Chicago, Illinois. How you doing? You don't decorate? Kids don't bother you with candy. Yeah, that's the best. If you don't decorate, hopefully you won't get any trick-or-treaters. Here, we'll head across here. There's the Lincoln statues that way. A lot of times we go up that way, but I'm going to go past Dearborn Street. We'll head past the Latin School. You wouldn't live above the 3rd floor. Yeah, a lot of people told me that. My first place when I moved to Chicago, I was on the 10th floor. And my dad was like, the fire truck ladders can't get up that high. And I was like, no, I'm not worried. There was a fire escape in the building I lived in, you know. But I live on a much lower floor now, which is nice. And there's the History Museum there. We'll head over towards Wells Street here. There's the Moody Church. We were talking about that last night. So there's the actual Moody Church. The Moody Bible Institute's down by Chicago and LaSalle. And we go by there sometimes as well. That's the Chicago Historical Society there. Here's the Latin School, private school. Oh, we missed the bus. There's that children's fountain there. Yeah, pagan activities. Yeah, Michael. In a good way. Here's the Germania building. Jennifer You Should Eat was talking, giving us some details about the Germania building. She said they would open up the windows in the summertime. I always learn stuff. She was talking about this theater too. I remember going to movies there. And now it's part of this development. But there's the Chicago Historical Society. Here's Wintrust, Old Town. Welcome to Old Town. Credit Union. They were harassing the house. No, I haven't seen that, but maybe I'll see it there. Mike James, how you doing there? Hey, Billy Shed, yeah. Keith. Yeah, it's 50 degrees. It's pretty chilly today. I filmed the bridge lift there. There's a check on Chicago gas prices. So I guess gas prices are going down. I know this is, I'm sure this is higher than where you're tuning in, unless you're tuning in from California or something. But this is Chicago. Gas prices, the Shell. This is the corner of LaSalle and North Avenue. And this gas station is usually 20 cents cheaper than the gas station just a block north there on Clark and LaSalle, which is, I'm always like, why would anybody go if you could just drive around the block? You know, I just, they don't see it, I guess, you know. They come off LaSalle Street. And, you know, there's the Sears Tower. There's the view to the Sears Tower there. See, it's purple for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're looking down from North Avenue. We're 2.5 miles north of it. We were by the Sears Tower today for the sailboat bridge lifts there. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Hey, don't forget the Chicago Fire soccer team plays tonight. They're playing Orlando, and they're playing to claim a spot in the Major League Soccer playoffs. It's like a wild card. And I'll see if I can find that on TV. Hey, they're getting the nails done. Therapy Balance Centers here, North Avenue. We'll go by let's go by the Duck House. I know I'm like, in my old age, I'm getting lazier and lazier. I'm just recycling my old tricks. But I think people like the Ducks, and then we can just head up Curly Court. Because I want to, there's that place on St. Paul that has the beautiful porch. I felt rushed last time trying to film it because somebody was coming out of the alley there that lived there, and they'll be like, "Why are you filming our porch, you jerk?" It's beautiful Halloween decoration, so I just moved on. And that's not what they said to me. That's what it was in my mind they were going to say. I was worried they were going to say that. Here's, hey, Old Town's looking nice here. Go down to Zany's. Second City's right here. And, yeah, we'll cross right here and we'll head up towards the Eugenie here.
Is that what?
Yeah, 50 degrees will be freezing in California. My sister's the same way. She lives in Houston. And if it gets below 60, she puts on a coat. Turns up the heat. But hey, I find this refreshing. You know, we filmed the bridge lift today. It was chilly, but it was fine. It wasn't raining. It would have been really cold if it was raining, but that cold. We're almost in November rain here. There's that Stanley Tigerman, I think, is the architect of that Walgreens, and they want to build a 36-story condo high-rise here. Here's the Cochran's. There's the Moonstar. They just added that. Here's Professor Pizza. Or Utopian Tailgates. This used to be the Piper's Alley. There used to be like a stained glass, like giant lampshade there it was this alley with, like, in this late 60s, early 70s, there was like head shops and nice restaurants, or interesting, eclectic restaurants, like bookshops, you know, weird, kitschy stuff. You know, all of Wells Street, they used to be like a Paul Bunyan type Chuck house. There was like a Ripley's Believe It or Not. It was a lot of a mismatch of a lot of weird eclectic shops. And like the Second City was right there. Belushi and his friends, they would do drugs like all in the above these bars, and you know, it was all kinds of crazy stuff went on around here. In that alley, the Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi would hang out. There was a bar down the alley because the Second City Improv was right here. And they, of course, they all went. Lorne Michaels stole them to go to Saturday Night Live. They all worked for the National Lampoons or the Second City, you know, which is right there. Yeah, South Carolina. How you doing there, Hopper? Yeah, they're planning, at least there's plans to build some high-rise housing at the southern tip of Goose Island. There used to be a Greyhound bus repair terminal there. You would see a bunch of Greyhound buses. We can walk through there. I'll have to go down Halstead. I wanted to cross over there last week, but they shut down the Chicago Avenue Bridge. It's under construction, and they're working on the casino. The casino is right there. You know, Halstead and Chicago, you could see it. And then the river, we walked along the river and saw it from across the river. The hotel's starting to go up. So if I see any construction cranes for the residential towers, we'll go over there and document, and I'll put a rerun. Follow me on TikTok and YouTube. I'm streaming on YouTube, but I'm posting content to both reruns. And just to let people on TikTok that I'm still streaming. People are like, oh, I miss you streaming on TikTok. I said, there's nothing stopping you from watching me on YouTube. Oh, I hate YouTube. Well, if you like me, I really appreciate you making the sacrifice and dealing with YouTube's crappy app, because we can still stream here. We can still do comments. You don't have to tap the screen. You still get hundreds of people to tune in. And we got a nice international audience, which includes India, which most of India cannot watch TikTok. And I like it when people tune in from India. We've had gurus and all kinds of interesting, smart people tune in from India. Thanks for checking out Chicago. Here's Eugenie and Wells Street. This neighborhood is called Old Town. We walk here all the time. This is on my way home from work. Mostly what I do is just walk to work, walk home. We walk around the loop at lunchtime. We do cultural events on the weekends sometimes. Protests. Parades. Sometimes we go to secret Black Panther meetings. It's great. Here's look at the ducks. Look at the ducks. Here's the ducks here in Old Town. How you doing there, ducks? You think the Chicago Fire soccer team, you think they're gonna pull it off tonight? Can beat Orlando? Yeah, go Chicago Fire. Where's your turtle friend? Sometimes we see the turtle in here. Here's the house with the ducks. This is on Eugenie Street. Bells of St. Michael's. You hear that? We got 6:15. All's well here. Look at the beautiful. Yeah, well, here's the pink skeletons. Yeah, here's the nice tentacles coming out the windows. Yeah, see, they were checking out the ducks. A lot of times people will come here with their dogs and check out the ducks. How you doing there, ducks? Well, we'll let you be. There's your moment of zen there. Isn't that great? And yeah, these workman cottages here. I filmed another one of those relief houses. I'll cut out the rerun. That was from this morning where I fell down, but I was okay. I've been falling down a lot. I think I'm getting dropsy. I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying I got to pay attention here. We're heading into winter, and I don't need to be slipping and sliding here. Here, let's head up. Hey, there's the Tower of St. Michael's. So you've seen all this before, but you're going to see it again. So say something there. They don't have it turned on. It was turned on, so at least we got it filmed when it was turned on here. They got some more lights on here, so we'll go down Crilly Court here, and we'll film the Halloween decorations here. Yeah. So hey, they got a bunch of stuff in the trees. This is like an alien. And I think these lights are new. Earlier in the week, maybe Monday, we went by here. Look at these spooky lights there. Look how they blow in the wind. That's perfect. See, all you gotta do is put some little balls with the little sheet around it. Look at that. Oh, with that light, that's too much. Trick or treat. Hey, there's the corpse. So they right at when we went through the other day, the Undertaker was laying down on the job, but they got him back up, and they got the creepy clown coming out of the garden department. I like that. Is that it? What is that? And here we got see if the Undertaker doesn't look like he's on, and they'll turn him on some other time. But look at these nice Halloween decorations here. Really cool. We got skeletons hanging from the trees. We got skeleton cats, skeleton birds. Look at that. Haunt you later. Crilly Court. Hey, look at the eyes in the window. They got some eyes in the window. That's nice. That's all you got to do, put some eyes in the window. So, hey, there's a cat. I saw a cat. St. Paul and Crilly Court. Yeah, these beautiful porches. We saw them from the other side. Look at these beautiful porches on St. Paul. Nice stoops. Nice urban design. And skeletons. Ghosts. Hey, look at these pumpkins. The Great Pumpkin. Here it is. So look how beautiful this is. Look how nice they decorate this porch. This is on St. Paul Street, just north of Crilly Court, with all those Halloween decorations. And, you know, they got this. It's a nice porch anyway. These beautiful buildings. Again, it's the buildings combined with the Halloween decorations that are so perfect. Once it gets dark here and they turn on the lights, look how nice that looks. And Better Homes and Gardens there, yeah. So we'll head through there and keep outside. People decorate all over the city. I enjoy going to Bridgeport in St. Patrick's Day time, or the month of March for St. Patrick's Day, and people decorate for St. Patrick's Day. They'll put green lights, leprechauns, stuff like this. They got like inflatable, pots of gold with rainbows, and they decorate their whole house for St. Patrick's Day in Chicago, in Bridgeport, which is great. That's the South Side. That's the beginning of the South Side. And look at that. There's the skeleton. That's nice. It's blinking at us there. Yeah, look at, they got the green orb here. It's the purple house. And here, we'll head through here. So I'm going to go down Willow. So I'm going to go check to see if our friend he has the two skeletons. I wonder, Beginning of October, we were still having 70s and almost 80s at the beginning of October, and he did that last year. They were drinking a beer. Let's see if he changed their outfit. And here we're on North Park, and we'll go down Willow here, and we'll cut over a few blocks west here. I might go over to Cleveland Street to see if there's one that's like, it's an animatronic that's like meant to surprise you. They didn't have it turned on. I want to see if they got it turned on right now. So most of these houses, we were talking about that earlier. Okay, so let's explain the history of Old Town, where we're at here in Chicago. So Chicago was Potawatomi, Native American villages were here, and then fur traders were here. They tried to, establish a presence here. They couldn't really do it. The Americans eventually built Fort Dearborn. Chicago grew from a small trading outpost on the frontier of America, United States, in 1833. It was incorporated as a town in 1837, and then it grew to be about 300,000 people, which is a pretty decent sized city already by then, by 1870. So we're to 1870. So the city had grown this far north. So there was Old Town, where we're at now, was just outside the city limits. North Avenue, the reason North Avenue is called North Avenue, it was the northern city limit boundaries in 1871 when the Great Chicago Fire happened. This was probably outside. No, I don't know when they annexed. Don't either before or after Great Chicago Fire they annexed it. But this was its own town at one time, Old Town, and that's why the street grid is a little different. Here, before we finish this story, we'll show the nice. We'll still talk about the history of Old Town here. We'll talk about when this housing was built. Here's the yeah, he changed them. They're different. We filmed it earlier. So here we're on Willow Street, Old Town, Chicago, and look, they went to the hospital. They're in the hospital gown. They got the coconut water. They got the Bengay. She's got the bandage on her head. Heck, he changed them up. Isn't that nice? And this is the house with the 2 skeletons. Isn't that nice? So so Chicago's population was about 300,000 by the time of the Great Chicago Fire. This area was developed. Great Chicago Fire happened beginning of October 1871. This entire area was destroyed except for 3 houses, and I show you where those 3 houses are. So almost nothing in this area is older than 1871. They're probably besides the 3 houses that I show you that survived the fire, and I tell you why they survived the fire. The next oldest are these they're called relief houses. They got them through the winter, 1871, 1872. Milwaukee, St. Louis, and Cincinnati and Detroit, they helped out Chicago after the fire. They sent a bunch of lumber on the rail in these little kits so people could get these kits and build these little houses to get them through the winter. And most of them are gone, and they were turned into garages or destroyed, or lumber was used, they fell down. There is a beautifully maintained one that I showed. It's on my page. If you go to my reruns, we just posted it. People are liking it there. It's a relief house there. It's on Menominee. We went by it this morning. We went by it early in the week. And there's another one on Menominee. Then the next oldest, we point them out, the workmen's cottages. This might not be one, but they're kind of like that. They usually have pitched roofs. They're usually wood frame. They're 1872 to 1879, 1870s. There's the workmen's cottages. After that, the city of Chicago amended its building code for fireproof construction, brick construction. There was more stringent building codes. So most of the housing was built after 1880 is brick. It's concrete, stone, a combination of those materials. Fireproof construction, firewalls, and most of the buildings in this area date from the late 1880s to the early 1890s. And then the reason they don't go past there is there was a depression. There was a economic recession at the end of the 1890s. So there was a big boom from like 1888 to 1892, where like blocks and blocks and stuff was built all at once. And a lot of the downtown early skyscrapers were built during that period. And then it suddenly came to a halt. And just like 1929, there was so much stuff built in the city between 1921 and 1929. And that's some of the best, 1930, let's say 1930, including the Merchandise Mart and the Board of Trade. Those are some of the best well-built vintage skyscrapers. We'll never be able to build them because it would be so much expensive. The materials they use, the interiors, the fixtures, they would put gold leaf on the detail at the top and where no one could see it. It's a lost age, and the Great Depression ended that, because then it wasn't until the 1950s, 60s that we got to the international style, and that's when everything became a glass box. And that's when Chicago started to look like communist Russia. A bunch of big box buildings, and the public housing developments were the worst. I don't know. I don't know if they purposely made them look awful. Even the color scheme, they were like orange and white. It was like, come on. Here's the Midwest Buddhist Temple here. Let's head over to. That's what I want to see. I see it there. I don't think they have it on. One day we'll walk by. They have it on because I want to film it. Well, here's Hudson. We know Hudson has some nice Halloween decorations. We went up there this morning. Yeah, they changed their clothes. Yeah, take a picture of the parking garage. So what park is that? Oh, this park. Okay. Okay, so this is, look how you can see look at that nice view. Let me get away from that light pollution. Look how you can see that. That's the John Hancock and the 900 North Michigan there on top of the Midwest Buddhist Center. I don't know the name of this park. Maybe there's a name. We can go out this way. I see that the Halloween decoration I wanted to film is not on, so we'll go down Cleveland Street a different day. I'm sure if you look on a map next to the Midwest Buddhist Center, you got Google Maps there, it'll tell you what the name of this park is. But they got a nice little, the kids panning for gold. They got the chess pavilion here. Ogden Avenue used to run through here. And what's this say? Let's see what this says on the pole here. Yeah, you can tap longitude and latitude there. There you go. Old Town Triangle Halloween Celebration and Parade. Friday, October 31st. North Park Avenue. So, Old Town Triangle Halloween Celebration Parade. Friday, October 31st, 3 to 5. There you go. So I guess that's for the kids. I probably won't film any of the parades for the kids. I'll film the Boys Town for the adults evening parade after dark. We did it the last 2 years where they have a costume contest, and it's pretty good. Pizza and snacks. No, I can be around kids. I just don't want. You should see how stupid the comments are. I filmed kids in a parade on Saturday night. Ernesto Chicago Nuggies filmed it as well. This Jim and I filmed it. He's got it 30 frames per or 60 frames per second. 4K. He's got some really high quality content there on YouTube of the Arts After Dark parade. I got reruns of it. I'm just telling you what I think. So there's the bells of St. Michael's. What time we got? What time is it? 6:30. Okay, 6:30 here. We're on Hudson here. Oh wait, I want to film these. Here's the witch here. That's nice here. I want to film. Look at these nice Halloween decorations here. So here we'll go up Hudson. Hey, look at the nice boneyard there. I'm probably going to be working on Friday, and like most time I get off of work, and by the time I get up to, I'll probably stop at home and make a pit stop on the way, and then we'll go up to, I don't know what time it starts. We'll film it in the evening there. Yeah, out of respect. Thanks, Michael. That's the right answer. Thanks for helping me out. Out of respect to families and parents, they don't need a live streamer because we don't know who's watching. And, you know, it's cute. I remember, you know, I would walk home. All the trick-or-treaters would be out there in the Gold Coast the night of Halloween there, twilight, and they'd be going up to all the doors there. You know, we might film that. You know, if I walk through there, just walking down the street, you know, we'll see trick-or-treaters. We'll see people downtown, people dress up for work. But here we're on Hudson Street here. We went through here this morning. Let's see what it looks like after dark here. This will work out. Bulls home opener, 7 p.m. Is that tonight? I was focusing on the soccer. The Chicago Fire plays Orlando. Let's see the Bulls here. Thanks for mentioning that. So, hey, we got all kinds of stuff to watch here. That's great. Here, hold on a second here. Yeah, today, 7 p.m. Chicago Bulls home opener was against the Pistons there. Thanks for mentioning that. So hey, I need to put that in my word bubble too. We got Chicago Fire playing tonight at what, 7:30, and then at, let's see what time. Is it 7 o'clock? I just had it there. 7 o'clock. Yeah, you mentioned it. 7 o'clock. Bulls home opener against the Pistons. Hey, we got some good Chicago sports watching tonight. So here we'll head up Hudson here. Hey, we saw this. Okay, so we saw this morning. Here's the pirate. There's the pirate at the helm here. Look how the wheels turning there. That's a nice Halloween decoration here on Hudson Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Look at the nice ghost here. Got some nice, look at the lights here. I really like it here. Oh, I didn't see this. So this wasn't on this morning. I call this the psychedelic skull here. Look at that. Dia de los Muertos. Look at that beautiful multicolored skull there on the side of this building here. And we got skeletons. We got the ghouls. We got spiderwebs. We got this spider with the orb abdomen. But we got the pirate at the helm, which is the best. And they did a good job here on Hudson Street here. Look at the skulls in the window. There's the pirate. Here's the pirate at the helm. I like the patch there. Arr. There she blows. It's got the sail. Yeah, look at that psychedelic skull there. I like that. Yeah, with the spider. Spider bit it. Hey, here's the witch. I like that. Let's see. Here's the spider. So I'm seeing stuff I didn't see this morning because it's after dark and it wasn't turned on when we went through here. So this is Hudson Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. And look how you can barely see. You can see the top of the Sears Tower through the trees there. That's the Sears Tower lurking through the trees there. Look at that. So here we'll cross the street here. Sound of autumn, yeah. Smells like wood burning, wood fires. How you doing? So here we'll head out and check out. Oh, you're going in there. Sorry, I thought you were walking. I'm sorry. I was going to film the Halloween decorations, and my luck is I always like stop, and then people, it's like right where their house is, and then they're like, it looks so creepy, like I'm a person. They're filming them going into their house, and I was like, I saw them going down the sidewalk, and they were carrying groceries, and I was like, I'll let them walk by, and I'm like filming their house, and then they walk in the house, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was your house. I'm like walking home here. Oh, the life of a live streamer. There's a running club going through there. Here's eventually, the longer you stream, something awkward like that will happen. Like, for example, one time I was filming across the street like this, and I was zooming towards and someone was double parked. And I didn't realize they were double parked because I was looking at the comments and I was looking at something was happening across the street. And the nice woman, she goes, "Don't film me double parked." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not filming your license plate. I don't care that you're double parked." She goes, "Are you going to give me a ticket?" I'm like, "No, I'm a live streamer. She goes, "You know, why are you filming me?" I'm like, "I didn't see you there." You know, like so often I'll be filming stuff. There's all these streets all over the city. There's people sitting, like there's somebody sitting in their car on this block right now. There's always somebody, you go through a parking lot, there's always somebody sitting in the car. Sometimes it's multiple people. Sometimes weird things are going on in the car. You startle the people because they don't expect you to be walking by their car, you know, and they're like, "Oh, you got a camera." It's even worse. Then you got to explain yourself, you know. "No, I wasn't filming you." I was filming River Shannon here. People sitting at the bar drinking. Here, let's head over to, hey, we didn't film this one. Let's film this Halloween decorations here. Hopefully, I know. Hopefully, you never know. You never know. You know, people, you know, to defend themselves, you know, they get startled and then all of a sudden you're in a fight or flight situation. Here's Halloween decorations on Hudson Street. I didn't even see that over there. Look at that. There's River Shannon. Hey, they got the, yeah, look at that. So here, we'll head over to Cleveland Street here. River Shannon, this is Armitage. Kelly Quinn, how you doing there? Dolores, thanks for staying on there. Anita, thanks for being on. I really appreciate it. Eli Tea Time. I know. I'm on. Every day I'm putting my life on the line. You know, everybody's like, "Be safe." You know, is it dangerous? I'm like, yes. Everything's dangerous. If I would stay in bed all day, that would be dangerous too. Living in virtual reality. But probably the reason I stream so much is I was walking to work anyway. Before the age of live streaming, I was doing this. I would listen to audiobooks. I would meditate. I would brood over things. I would just like veg out and look at stuff. I'd pick different paths. I'd ride a bike, take the train. I don't have a car. I'd just pick different ways to get to work. And I saw the New York live streamers. They were talking about history of cities and housing. I'm like, hey, I could do that. I could just talk about the stuff I've been walking by all these years on my way to work, because I walk a long way and people tune in, and lo and behold, here we are, and it's great. But then it gets redundant because longtime friends and you see this thing. People, you feel like you've lived here because you've walked by these same things. If you tuned in, Anita, she knows exactly where I'm at. She's seen all this stuff last year and the year before. It's great. I appreciate it. And it gets better. We see how they change it up. Look at the nice, hey, there's the golden pumpkin head there. Yeah, we'll walk up Cleveland Street. Now we're on Cleveland Street, the beautiful housing here. We already went past, we're north of Armitage. This is Lincoln Park. We got about 49 degrees. Look, they're in shorts. He's in shorts up there. I'm wearing like a winter coat. But if you missed it, we did the bridge lift. Filmed the drawbridges there over the Chicago River. The Chicago Bulls play tonight. Play the Detroit. Play at 7 o'clock there, and they're playing at the United Center, the home opener for the 2025-26 Chicago Bulls basketball season there. And the Chicago Fire play tonight. That's why I put that in there. Yeah, the Detroit Pistons play the Bulls 7 p.m. tonight there. But the Chicago Fire, the Chicago soccer team, plays Orlando City there at 7:30. So we got two Chicago sports teams to root for. I got multiple TVs. People like, you got a lot of TVs. I say you got to watch more games at once sometimes, or more than one game at once. We got the World Series coming up. Look at the Halloween decorations here. You're from Bristol? Hey, thanks for tuning in there. Thanks for learning here. Hopefully I'm teaching you something besides, I know I'm just talking about Halloween decorations and old stories here. But we were talking about the history of Old Town and the history of Chicago. Hopefully it made sense. I know I had to break it up to talk about Halloween decorations. Here we're always through here because it's near where I live. This is the 6-way intersection of Lincoln, Cleveland, and Dickens. They used to have a bunch of skeletons hanging from this building, but they took them off, I guess. They were there, like one year they left them up all through the summer, but they are gone now. There's the Gemini restaurant. Here's the Nucci's here. Get some pizza classics. Yeah, we'll head across. This is Lincoln Avenue here. This is Dickens, and that's Cleveland, and that's the Carnival grocery store there. You got a nice meat market, just like the Big Apple on Clark Street. These little corner mid-block grocery stores, they're not chains. And there's Gemini. There's the Nucci's here, the 6-way intersection. Lincoln Park, Chicago. Tulips, yeah, we got tulips in the springtime. Tiptoe through the tulips. Here we'll head up. The housing, they don't even have to decorate. The housing itself is spooky this time of the year when it gets dark. And we're not even to the time change. The time change is what, November 1st, after Halloween, beginning of November. So then it'll be dark when I get out of work. When I start streaming at 5, it'll be dark already. You're in Philadelphia? Hey, that's good. City of brotherly love. Hey, they got the lights on, so they're making progress. They've been renovating this. Look at the beautiful. That's good. How you doing? No, I see the beautiful stained glass. This is the beautiful building. I just noticed the lights are on.
Oh yeah. We're moving in finally.
Oh great. Hey, welcome to the neighborhood there. I live at Clark and Fullerton, so that's great. A beautiful house here. That's great here. Yeah, look at that. Wow. So hey, there's the new neighbors. They're moving in. Look at that. Very nice. So hey, great. I'm happy to hear it there. So we'll report the news there. They've been renovating it. They got new gutters and everything. So here, look at the beautiful housing here on Cleveland Street. This is Lincoln Park, Chicago. We're checking out the Halloween decorations, greeting our new friends and neighbors there. I'm sure they're like, oh no, a live streamer lives in the neighborhood. We'll hear his voice every morning yapping past their place. I got to keep it down. But I'm a loud talk. Usually I'm trying to talk over the loud traffic downtown. When you're in the loop, you don't realize how loud it is, the street noise. And it used to be even louder when the mufflers were worse on cars. But trucks, I noticed when you're on the major thoroughfares, you really notice the truck. I have to talk over the trucks, and they're really loud. We have to talk over sirens and horns and people yelling. But here, look at the beautiful housing here. Cleveland Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. No, that house had been dark for so long because they were renovating it all through the summer. And I just noticed the lights were on. I was like, oh, there you can see the stained glass. And there she was like, can I help you? I'm like, oh, I love your beautiful house. Here's the, here's the, yeah, the skeletons there. Look at that. Yeah. Halloween decorations here on Cleveland Street. We're up here at Webster. Good. So here, we'll head across here. Yeah, this is a beautiful house. They usually decorate really nicely for Christmas. I guess they're not doing anything for Halloween, which is fine. Some of these houses used to decorate more often, but I don't. Let's see. Let's go over. Let's see, Webster. Yeah, the Jester thing's over there, so we know the Jester. Let's go over here. We'll go up Cleveland Street here. We'll see if we see. Look at the beautiful porch here. Better Homes and Gardens here. Yeah, they always have such a nice garden here. And And this place up here, the yellow house, they always have such a nice garden passage here. But look how they got these are, that was built after the 2000s. We got the modern stuff mixed with the vintage housing here. This housing too was built originally in the late 1880s, early 1890s. All this housing here. But the oldest ones will end my live at the Twin Sisters. I found some more facts, which I always was vague about. The last thing I read, they said they were built in 1866, so they're older than Policeman Bellinger's house, which is probably 1869 to 1870, which survived the Great Chicago Fire. And that's on Hudson. We went by Policeman Bellinger's house earlier in the morning. The Twin Sisters are up here just south of Fullerton on Cleveland, and they just missed being burnt by the fire because the fire kept burning north by northwest, and it must have just missed them. And there was also a house at Clark and Fullerton on the north side of the street there, on the northeast side, that survived. They tore it down. It was a big mansion, and it looked like an Addams Family house with a turret. It was the Ebenezer Peck house. He was a friend of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was in that house, and it's where he picked his cabinet slate in 1860 when he won the election to become president for his first term. Before he went to Washington, he was still in Illinois, and people were looking in the windows, and so they had to move to the upper part, and that's the closest Abraham Lincoln got to Lincoln Park, because there wasn't the actual park, because there wasn't really a Lincoln Park at that time. It was all a cemetery and nasty lakefront marsh. But they tore that house survived the Great Chicago Fire, the Ebenezer Peck house, and they tore it down because by the 1920s it looked like a ghost house. It was all like broken down, and the windows were broken out, and it was falling down. And so they tore it down, and there's an apartment building there now. And but the Twin Sisters, we'll see, they survived the Great Chicago Fire. And they're the oldest buildings I know of on the north side. Besides, you get out towards, there was other, people talk about in Westtown, there was a building that was near a parking garage, and it was a farmhouse from like the 1850s that was still there. The city grew around it, and it still survived till like recently, and they tore it down. And we were like, that should have been preserved, you know. But it didn't, it looked like an old farmhouse in the city, and that's probably why it wasn't preserved. But it still was nice because it was well built to last that long. But imagine that was farmland, and the city went and surrounded it, But here we're on, this is Belden, Cleveland Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Homes are stunning. Yeah, look at that. Look at the stained glass there. Look at these are yeah, really well built housing, and that's why people say Lincoln Park was gentrified, but this area, like along Orchard, Fullerton, it never really went into a huge decline. Yeah, it was more middle class maybe in the Great Depression and the 50s, but it wasn't, this area was never really blighted. The area south of here were in Lincoln Park. The southern end of Lincoln Park used to be completely different, and even the Sheffield neighborhood used to be different. But check out Chuck De Los Santos's book Once a Time in the Neighborhood. There, he writes about that. But like areas on the south side, like Prairie Avenue, there was beautiful mansions and stuff, and it really did go through a decline. Like the Swift Mansion, we saw, they're restoring it, and it was still used, but there was like a fire on the roof, and they had to restore it. It was kind of shocking to see it like that, but they're restoring it. That was Swift and Armour's mansions are down there. Here's Cleveland Street, Halloween decorations. Look how you can see the tall buildings over there. Beautiful housing here, Cleveland Street. And then the Cynical used to be there. They're building new construction here. And We see that along Fullerton too. Look at the mums. People have some really nice mums. And look, they got stuff up there. Here's that's a really beautiful building. It almost looks like an Addams Family house there. Look at those clouds. Yeah, this whole row here between Fullerton and Belden on Cleveland, this whole street is just amazing. Yeah, I'm missing a bunch of side conversations. Thanks everybody for commenting and having good conversation here. Yeah, it would cost so much today. I mean, you know, look at the stone and that turret there. And these are the twin sisters. These are 1866. They survived the 1871 Great Chicago Fire, and it's because the fire kind of burned out and went to the lake by this point. And the fire burned for almost 3 days. And here's one of the twin sisters. They decorate the yard here with some nice Halloween decorations there. See, with the shadows, it looks like the foot's moving there with the And here's the other twin sisters, again, Better Homes and Gardens. Look at their nice front yard here, and they got some nice jack-o'-lantern lanterns there. Just simple Halloween decorations there. Look at the beautiful facade there. The twin sisters survived the Great Chicago Fire. Cleveland Street, just south of Fullerton, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll end with this. I know they got a dog, so hopefully the dog is okay with me filming their beautiful Halloween decorations. Here, this is again north end of Cleveland Street. Well, where it tees into Fullerton here. So hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a good night. We'll do this again this morning. We'll pick a route and maybe we'll head by the lake if we get if the sun's shining. I haven't walked by the lake yet. We need to get some sunrises in. It was cloudy this morning. So thanks mods, thanks Anita, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Okay. See you, Wes. See you, Kelly. Thanks, Anita. Have a good night. Grim Evil, thanks for being on. Krista, missed everybody. John, Teddy, Tea Lime Tea Time. Yeah, Wes, Mimi. We'll see everybody. Anita, thanks for being on. Really pretty. Tombot, Kelly, JN. Yeah, thanks everybody. Hey, have a good night. I'm gonna get dinner. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Angie Love. Okay, Carol Hart. We'll see you, Subi. Yeah, thanks for being on. Becky Benson, Monica. Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Okay, if I miss you, Marco Polo.